Hello, movie lovers. Welcome back to the Apocalypse Movie News Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Bartley, and I'm here again with Gio Ramos. How you doing, Gio?
Doing good. Hope y'all doing good out there.
And we're here with Jake Berlin as well. How you doing, Jake?
Good. Glad to be here talking movies.
So for those of you who don't know how this works, Gio Ramos, the movie news guru, he gathers all the biggest stories throughout the week and emails them to us, and we get prepared for talking about them and giving our thoughts. And today, not too much going on in the movie world, but there are some very interesting things, a few trailers to drop, a few things regarding Suicide Squad, and we'll start off with a little bit of Star Wars, which we usually save for our Padawan podcast, but we don't have one this week. That'll be next week. So, Gio, what do we got today to start things off?
Well, it's been a busy week for Star Wars, like you said. But we're going to talk about probably the biggest thing, the first thing that came out. It was J.J. Abrams with The Force Awakens. He gave a lengthy interview to EW about the characters, the story, his approach, and whatnot. It's a very lengthy interview. It has a lot of stuff in there, guys. So if you want to know more about Star Wars The Force Awakens, at least from behind the scenes, definitely check it out on apocalypsemovies.com. But I'm going to ask you guys, what was your guys' takeaway from this? What stood out to you the most? Because there's a lot of stuff that J.J. Abrams says, but probably the most important thing to you.
Well, I'll start. For me, just from everything that he said, I just tell they're putting so much thought into this and being so careful with everything. And while for most properties you don't really need to do that, with Star Wars, I mean, you're talking about fans all over the world, multi-generations, and so he's being very, very careful with every little detail, and I really appreciate that because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so it means a lot to me. But as far as specific comments that stood out to me, what he said about how in A New Hope, how Luke wasn't, we didn't, as an audience, we didn't know that Luke was Vader's son. We didn't know that Luke was Leia's sister. And he said that we didn't find those things out in the first movie meant that when we realized it in the second and third movies, it carried much more weight because we had time to sit with that and think about it. And, you know, we had time for Vader in our minds to become this, you know, godly figure, this all-powerful, you know, one of the best villains of all time, even after just the first movie. So, and now how he said, and him talking about that, saying he's going to apply that to The Force Awakens, it's cool that he's doing that, but it worries me a little bit because he's keeping everything under wraps. Him and Lucasfilm keeping everything so secretive. Like, we don't know who exactly Rey is. We don't know if she's Luke's daughter. We don't know if she's Han and Leia's daughter. We don't know who Kylo Ren is. We don't know if he's related to her or them at all. And there's been all this buildup for over a year, and all us fans are wondering who is who. And I'm scared that we're not going to find out in this movie. And while I'll get over it, at the time I'm going to be a little pissed because I want to know. I want to know who Rey is, who Rey and Kylo Ren are at least. And hearing these comments, I have a feeling we're not going to find out in this movie. And while, yeah, sure, it's a tribute to the original trilogy and how they did it, and it may have worked for that, but it sounds to me like he's saying we're not going to find these things out, and he's going to save them for episode. They're going to save them for the other episodes so they carry more weight. But at the same time, this is his movie, so wouldn't he want to let that information go in his movie and not, you know, give that to Rian Johnson or do directing episode 9?
Colin Trevorrow.
Colin Trevorrow, yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, yeah, that was the biggest thing that I took from it. But other than that, I love everything he says. I love how carefully they're treating the property and the characters in general. And I also love that he said you don't have to be knowledgeable on the prior films in order to enjoy this movie. You can go into this movie not seeing any Star Wars movies, and it's going to have a beginning, middle, and end in its own story. So that was great.
Okay. So your preference is that you want JJ to kind of, you know, like in episode 7, kind of have a reveal for the characters.
Yeah, at least something. We don't have to reveal everything. Like, let's say, at least let us find out who Rey and Kylo are, and then maybe you save Finn, whoever Finn is. Not saying he's related to anybody or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, we find out more about his character in Episode 8, or maybe we find out more about Captain Phasma in Episode 8. I want to know what's up with Rey and Kylo in this episode. And it doesn't sound like, feel like from what he said, that's not going to happen.
Okay, yeah. Jake, what about you?
Well, so piggybacking off what Jacob said,
if you go back and watch A New Hope or Star Wars, whatever you want to call it,
we don't know a single thing about Luke, Leia, or Vader in the very first episode. We don't know that they're brother or sister. We don't know that Vader's the father.
I love, like, throughout the whole article, JJ, there's a quote, or what he had said, it really stood out to me. He said, there had been a couple years to allow the idea of Darth Vader to sink in, to let him emerge as one of the greatest movie villains ever. Time built up everyone's expectations about the impending conflict between Luke and Vader. If I Am Your Father had been in the first film, I don't know if it would have had the resonance. I actually don't know if it would have worked.
So to not know who everybody is in the first film is the way I personally want to see it. Like, we're going to get teasers and tidbits. I'm sure someone's going to be revealed, but I'm going to disagree. I would love to not know anything after the first film. Like, to go, like, let all this stuff sink in for another 2 years and just wait for it to kind of play out and let the anticipation build even more. I think we're going to find out something, but
I would love to not know who exactly Kylo Ren is and who, if anybody, who Finn is.
Well, you know what the difference is? Like, just real quick. Back then, before A New Hope, Star Wars came out, there was no, like, internet like this. No one was following every little tiny detail of the production of the movie. And so we've been building these characters up in our head for, like, almost 2 years now. And we're still going to have to wait another 2.5 years, or maybe another year and a half to find out more details. That's the only difference.
But like, as for the whole article with me, what stood out to me the most is that JJ, he mentioned Star Trek Into Darkness, and he kind of admitted that, it wasn't the best story, that he kind of did not fail at it, but just it wasn't as good as the previous one, and it wasn't his best story-based film, and he had worked on the outside instead of the innards of it, and he says that they really went to work on the story, and that's what they focused on the most. They weren't worried about big action set pieces or whatever that would come with the story, and that they were focused on not just this movie, but setting up the entire future of the Star Wars universe. And he had said that Rian Johnson came in and even helped him out with the story a little bit, and he's the one directing Episode 8. Mm-hmm. And then it's vice versa, that he also helped Rian Johnson with the script of Episode 8. So it's really cool to see all this happening together, and all these directors and producers and everything, they're all collaborating together, because it only means good things for the Star Wars movies. So that's what I took away from it. It seems like he's really focused on the story. He knows what this means to fans and audiences and everybody out there, the generations. He himself is a giant Star Wars fan. So it's really exciting to hear this kind of stuff coming from him. And, he made an amazing case to why he was picked to direct Episode 7. Right. Like, at this point, I don't see anybody else who would have fit better. Mm-hmm. I think he was the perfect choice, and, all these comments kind of back that up. So,
yeah, in the interview, it kind of he explains how he kind of geeked out on set.
Yeah,
every now and then, and as
he saw Han Solo dressed up and the stormtroopers.
That's the kind of director you want on set. That's when it's someone who's passionate. And I totally get what you're saying when you said that he learned from his life experiences when working on Super 8. The story wasn't completely done. Well, it's a totally different situation with Lucasfilm. They're gonna make sure that you're ready. You have the right script. They did rewrites to God, what's his name? Toy Story 3 writer, Michael Arden. They didn't like his script. JJ came in, they rewrote the entire thing.
And Lawrence Kasdan, who came in, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. And as for having details about the characters and who they are. We've seen it work in previous films. Like, if you guys remember the first Lord of the Rings, you pretty much knew everything about who everyone in the Fellowship of the Ring. You knew that Aragorn was this, you know, destined to be like a king, you know. So it can work when you give us the information about characters in the first film. We've seen it work with the Lord of the Rings, but with Star Wars, it works both ways. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. The only other thing I'll mention is that he talked about Han Solo working with the original cast again, and how he kind of directed them into playing their own characters, but playing characters that have grown. You know, like, he doesn't want Han Solo playing a 30-year-old, Harrison Ford playing a 30-year-old Han Solo again. He wants him to play a little bit more of a mature Han Solo, you know, bring more of it, like, use your own life experiences, because he's grown older, you know, obviously. But I mean, that's something that stood out for me, and you guys pretty much mentioned everything else that, you know, has happened, how that he talked about with A New Hope and it being a self-contained story, a beginning, middle, and end. That's kind of how The Force Awakens will be, which is something I appreciate. That's one thing that A New Hope has over every other Star Wars film in the 6 films, is that A New Hope is its own story. It could be a
But it's set up the entire universe.
Yeah.
Like, the Star Wars universe wouldn't have happened without that movie.
Right. And part of that is what Abrams says towards the end of his interview, trying to set up elements of what is beyond what you're seeing. So we're definitely going to get a little bit of all that. So you guys check it out on apocalypsemovies.com. The whole article, Jake wrote up an amazing, lengthy article that goes into detail. So definitely check that out. Moving on, we have a trailer, our first trailer for 999, the heist crime drama.
Second trailer, right?
Oh, that was first.
No, I think it's the second trailer.
Is it second?
Yeah.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah, it is the second trailer, because the first one starts with Woody Harrelson at
He's
the bar.
talking. Yeah, him and Casey Affleck, yes.
Wow, how did I miss that?
Oh, it's a great trailer.
See, I thank you. That's
It's
why you
all
guys
right,
are
movie
here.
news guru.
Yeah, I'm crazy, guys. Okay, so 999 second trailer came out. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. Everything. This trailer has a lot going for it, but go ahead, dive into it.
It's awesome. You know, the cast is obviously phenomenal. Casey Affleck, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Aaron Paul, Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, which I'm stoked to see him in. Woody Harrelson, Kate Winslet, who's almost unrecognizable. Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic trailer. The first one, I was so into the first one. This one, I'm even more into. This one is much more story based. It gives us what is going on and like what happens. I'm kind of like, it seems like a smaller film almost. Like, I'm kind of hoping this is next year's John Wick. Like, it kind of gets that kind of praise and love, and audiences go to see it and whatnot. It's very it looks very fun and entertaining and serious at the same time. I was just so into it. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it.
Right on. Jacob.
Man, this trailer was incredible, I thought. I liked the first trailer, but just with the dialogue and the cast, but this trailer was so exciting. Like, it was hard to, everything was moving so fast and it was hard to keep track of, but I liked that. It was, it's going to be some type, you know, some of these characters are not who they put themselves out to be. There's going to be some twists and turns in this movie, and
Anthony
I'm really
Mackie.
excited about that. But man, how do you not start with the cast? This is crazy cast. This is, I mean, who's the lead? Is it Woody Harrelson? Is it Casey Affleck? Is it Chiwetel Ejiofor? Is it, I mean, Kate Winslet coming off of that Steve Jobs performance, like one of the best performances I've ever seen. I'm really excited for her in any role. But yeah, Norman Reedus, I'm excited to see him in a movie. Gal Gadot's in it. Wonder Woman's
Gal
in it.
Gadot, yeah.
So we'll get to see a little bit more of her before Batman v Superman comes
And
out.
she looks like she may be central, because she said that she's Kate Winslet's sister in the movie.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what the trailer
And
said
she
anyway.
looked like, the little shots we got of her, it didn't look like she was so stiff. It looks like she was actually acting. So maybe that has, working on this movie helped with her Justice League and Batman v
Is
Superman.
she?
That's
is
what
she-
we hope.
Is she Casey Affleck's wife or is she Anthony Mackie's
I don't
wife?
really know. I couldn't follow the story.
Affleck.
She is Affleck's? Okay.
Yeah.
But man, dude, Casey Affleck, I wonder why he's not a bigger star than he is.
He's
but we've
incredible.
talked about it
He's so
before.
good.
He's picky with his roles, and rightfully so. Why not?
Gone Baby Gone.
He's a great actor. Like, he's so underrated. He's been nominated at least once or twice for Academy Award.
Gone Baby Gone. I think he got
Yeah,
nominated for
yeah.
that.
I think he got nominated for something else as well. So he's very underrated. Chiwetel Ejiofor, Anthony Mackie, Aaron Paul. This cast is incredible. But just this trailer alone, it gets me so excited. It's like, it reminds me of Sicario a little bit. Just, you know.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a little deceivingness going on.
It reminds me of Sicario and a little bit of like John Wick, just the type of violence we're gonna get. So I'm all in. We need more movies like this. You know, Hollywood gets drowned in all these huge blockbusters and then all these Oscar movies, but we need more movies like this. This looks awesome.
Yeah, I'll agree with everything you guys just said. Hell of a cast. Kate Winslet as a crime boss. I'm excited to see how that. Is this her first time playing a villain role?
I haven't seen all her films, so I can't say.
Well, I mean,
no.
as far as you guys know.
In Insurgent and Divergent.
Yeah,
and
she plays.
Detergent.
Which
Oh.
that just got a trailer today, by the way.
Huh?
Part 3 just got a trailer today.
Oh, did it? Yeah, no.
The trailer
she's
dropped earlier.
She's like the Dr. Snow in that
President
series,
Snow,
right?
President Snow.
Or she's like the President
Yeah.
Snow from Hunger Games in that series.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't recognize those
She's a
films,
bitch.
but awesome. Yeah, it feels like a David Ayer directed movie for me.
It has a darkness.
You know
to
who
it.
directed this? Who's directing this movie?
It's the Lawless guy.
John Hillcoat, the guy who directed Lawless.
Yeah.
Lawless and The Road.
Man,
Those-
that gives me so much hope.
Yeah, I have high hopes for this movie after watching the trailer several times. It might be the best. It could be the best heist film since The Town, and we all know how great The Town
What about
was.
Ant-Man, bro? Come on.
Anyways, yeah, the trailer, it doesn't give up too much. It sets all the pieces in place. You know who everyone is going in, and we just have to wait and see how it all plays out. The title itself, 999, it doesn't get any more intense than that, especially how the trailer ends, with, cop being... It doesn't get any more intense than that. So this will be one of the more crime dramas, better crime dramas to look forward to next year, guys. Check it out, and let us know what you think. Okay, we're gonna get into a little. Speaking of David Ayer, we're gonna talk a little Suicide Squad. The film has officially got a PG-13 rating. The producer Charles Raven calls it a hard PG-13 rating, saying he wants the film to stay tonally consistent with all the other films throughout the DC universe. I want to ask you guys, what do you think of this rating? Something you expect? Should it have maybe gone for R rating? Will it take away from the story? Go on. Talk.
This is it. I mean, it was inevitable. I would have never doubted that it was going to be a PG-13 rating. It's a comic book movie. It's in the DC universe, and it's all about money too. They're not going to isolate what an audience members that can't go without their parents. So I knew this was coming. It's actually relieving to finally hear it confirmed, because I've heard people out there like, Suicide Squad has to be rated R. Like, no, it doesn't. You can do so much dark things in rated R or in rated PG-13 these days. Going back to Casino Royale, the James Bond film, that movie looks like it should be rated R, but it's not. It's PG-13. So they can do a lot with this. The Dark Knight movies were really, really dark. So it doesn't worry me whatsoever. I don't think it's going to take away from the story or anything. The only difference is like when somebody gets killed, they can't show the blood, or we don't get to see someone naked, or there's not going to be a million F-bombs. And I'm totally like, I don't need to see someone's throat get slit. Like, just imply that it happened and I'm cool with it. So this is totally fine, and I expected it.
Jake?
I'm cool with it, but I wanted R. That's what I wanted.
I mean, it would have been awesome. Don't
I
get me
want to
wrong.
see someone's throat get slit.
Yeah,
I want to see
hey.
some naked ladies. It's like, come on.
Naked Harley Quinn? Why not?
That would never happen. Well, it's happened before, but a movie called Suicide Squad, it kind of calls for an
Yeah,
R rating.
definitely.
But if you read the interview, I mean, it makes sense because they're trying to totally fit everything within the DC extended universe. Like, Batman vs. Superman is not going to be rated R. A Batman solo movie is not going to be rated R. So it has to fit with all of that to be able to interchange and interconnect. Like, these villains are going to eventually show up, or maybe some of them at least are eventually going to show up in some solo movie down the road. So it's kind of like what Deadpool's doing with X-Men. Like, that movie's going to be rated R, but if he ever comes into an X-Men movie, he's going to have to be scaled down a bit. Like, they're not going to be able to do what he does in a solo movie. And, you know, I could see, like, I get it because they're trying to appeal to bigger audiences. They have to fit, you know, for the younger age and whatnot. But I would have loved to seen an R rating for this movie, solely alone because it's a David Ayer movie. And the violence that happened in Fury is what I would have loved to see with this kind of movie. He does it so well, but it makes sense that it gets a PG-13 rating. You know, it's not going to hinder the way my excitement for it, so I'm still looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed. R rating, I feel like it could have done a lot more, especially with Jared Leto's Joker, you know, especially the Joker he's trying to go for, you know, the psycho killer. It's obviously going to be, you know, held back in tone a little bit, which I feel is a bad thing. And like you said, David Ayer, you know, I'm thinking this is going to be like Street Kings with superheroes, you know. It'll be his first non-R-rated flick, but I understand, you know, studio. They wanted to appeal to everyone, and my thinking is that, you know, you kids out there, you guys can have all your, you know, lighter superhero movies and whatnot. Suicide Squad, if I was a studio executive, I would have went for an R rating. You have a good enough cast, and Will Smith, Margot Robbie, Jared Leto, so the names are there. You have David Ayer. You could do it with the right marketing. I think it could have worked as an R rating, but I totally get why they're doing PG-13. So you guys let us know in the comments what you think. Suicide Squad, should it have gone for an R rating, or is PG-13 the right call? Obviously, we're all excited about it and whatnot. So let us know what you think. All right, moving on. We have an update on Ridley Scott's Alien franchise. Now, is it? I'm confused. Is it Prometheus 2 or is it?
It's Prometheus 2.
It's the sequel to Prometheus, but it's Alien.
It's Alien Paradise Lost.
Yes.
Okay, that's what he's calling it.
Yes.
So
Aliens Paradise Lost, is that what it is? Yeah.
It's Alien and then Paradise Lost.
There's no Prometheus in the title, right?
They basically attach the Alien name, letting people know this is connected.
Okay.
They're doing it it's a cash grab title.
Yeah. So Ridley Scott, he wants, in the next film, he wants to answer the question, who created the aliens? That's something that he's been wanting to do for a while now. So I want to ask you guys, does this make you more excited for Aliens Paradise Lost? And do you care who created the aliens? So whoever wants to start off.
I don't really care,
to be honest. Prometheus was like, I liked it when I first saw it, but after watching it a few times, I'm like, oh, this is just an okay film.
Yeah.
Like, it's just okay. The visuals are obviously good.
That's what Ridley Scott's good at. He was like, he got back to his kind of heyday with The Martian, but he was on my poo list for a long time. And, you know, I was like, oh, they're going to do a sequel. The ending obviously calls for it. And then when they announced it, I'm like, okay, whatever. And then they announced the name. I'm just like, come on. It's supposed to be Prometheus, not Alien. I thought we were getting a sequel to Prometheus. And the great thing about Alien is that you never really know where these things come from, and the mystery behind them. And that's kind of what I want it to be. Like, I don't want to know their origin and whatnot. I don't need to know it. Just give me some straight chaos with Alien if that's what you're going to do. That's what made the original so great, is that you never knew where they were come from, where they were from, how they were created, you know, all that. And to know that he wants to tell a story of how they were created, where they're from and whatnot, doesn't really get me that excited. I'm still going to go see the movie, especially after The Martian, because hopefully he can get on a winning streak for a while. But it doesn't really get me that much more excited.
What about you, Jacob?
Well, first of all, like Jake said, I don't care too much, but if I'm gonna speak on it, I'll give my opinion. So there's kind of two sides to this. Like one side, you know, some people, they love origin stories and they love everything being explained. And then there's those people that always say, no, we don't need anything explained. For this, I'm kind of in the middle. What makes the aliens so creepy and so mysterious is that we don't know where they came from. And what are isn't there a name for the
Xenomorphs.
Yeah, xenomorphs, but what about the
Engineers?
Spelled with
the
an X.
engineers? Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So the engineers, are they implying that the engineers created the aliens? Or?
No, the engineers created us.
Okay,
They created
that's what
us.
it was. Okay, so what does that mean then? Is it gonna keep they reveal some other alien species that created the aliens?
From the article, it seemed like
Alien Paradise Lost is going to explain where the engineers come from.
and then the threequel is going to explain where the aliens come from.
And
That's
then,
that's what I got from it anyway.
like when
Well,
does
either way, he wants to explain who they.
when does it ever
were.
stop? Like, are we gonna get who created the people who created the aliens? Like, when does it ever stop?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
have no idea.
think we need to know.
Createception.
It's not like these are characters that speak and have, you know, personality and depth, and you want to learn more about them. That's not the case with these alien creatures. So I would rather not know. But obviously, I'm gonna go watch these films, and we're gonna find out. And it's his vision. This is his franchise. So after The Martian, how can you not be excited for something he does next? Even though it's Alien and Prometheus, which, you know, haven't been the best films the last 3 or 4 times. So we'll see. Again, I don't really care that much, but if it were up to me, I'd rather not find out where they come from. It makes them less scary.
All right. Well, I don't care at all. And here is
Hey,
the
we're all agreeing today.
here is the harsh truth, guys. And I don't mean any disrespect to Alien fans out there. I understand the franchise's greatness, at least the first 2.5 films. The Alien franchise, it's been somewhat irrelevant since the turn of the millennium. The last couple of times we saw Alien on screen, he was not in very good movies. They did those versus movies, and those kind of, you know, killed 2 franchises in 2 movies, 2 separate movies, in my opinion. What brought the name Alien back into relevancy was Neil Blomkamp and what some of his concept art that he released online. Not everybody's a fan of Neil Blomkamp, but after seeing what he did with District 9, they were willing to give him a chance despite his, you know,
Terrible run.
He's not making it
couple
any easier
misses.
with Chappie.
Yeah, taking on an established franchise, something that he didn't create himself. That's what fans were most excited about. But then Ridley Scott comes back and he's like, no, this franchise is mine. This property is mine, you know, whatnot, and kick Blomkamp out.
It's not even his. It's freaking James Cameron's.
James Cameron arguably did a better job than Ridley Scott, but
Well, Ridley Scott did the first one.
yeah.
James Cameron did Aliens.
Aliens.
right?
That's the best one.
Aliens, yeah. The fact that Scott has gotten like not just any hit, a major hit with The Martian.
Oh, yeah.
makes us more comfortable with the idea of him coming back to the Alien franchise. So he's very passionate about it. There are things to buy, but I don't know, man. I'm not gonna give him the benefit of the doubt yet. Like we're gonna have to wait until
You know
until
why
we
The
see it.
Martian being such a big hit might be a bad thing for this?
Why?
Think of George Lucas. Are they gonna just Ridley Scott? You can do whatever you want. We're not gonna interfere at all. That's what I think's happening with the Alien and Prometheus movies, and that scares me because we've seen what happens when one guy has all the control and he could just do whatever he wants. So I just thought of that. That worries me a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Not that I care about this franchise, but
And that's no disrespect to any of you Alien fans out there. We're just worried. We're worried
yeah,
for you.
I mean no disrespect. Aliens has never meant that much to me as it has meant to other people. I
Right.
still like the movies,
and we
the good
recognize,
ones.
yeah, it's what it's done for, you know, Hollywood and whatnot.
And I will say, I enjoyed Prometheus. I don't think it's a bad film. It's funny. back when it came out, I didn't even know it was Aliens prequel. I didn't.
Well, I mean,
Well, it wasn't.
It wasn't
Ridley
even
Scott.
marketed as
He threw away all the idea of no, this isn't an Alien prequel.
and I didn't follow movie news like I did
and then
now.
a few
so.
years later,
Yeah.
nah, it's an Alien prequel, guys. Yeah. So let us know in the comments what do you think about Ridley Scott wanted to tell the story of who created the aliens. Do you care? Do you not care? Give us your thoughts. All right, moving on to something delightful here. We're going to talk about Finding Dory. It's about time, right, guys? Wow.
It's been a while.
13 years.
13 years. Wow.
Well, when it comes out,
It's yeah.
It will have been 13
Yeah.
years. But the first teaser trailer came out. I want to get you guys' thoughts, reactions on it. It doesn't really tell a lot about the story, but just, give us your thoughts. Whoever wants to start.
Okay, well, let me just start off. While I do think it's been a bit too long for a sequel, I feel like there's no reason not to do it, because that's the great thing with animation. You don't let actors, there's no physical actors, so they don't age, they can stay the same age. Same with The Incredibles. And even if, like, hypothetically, if the same people to do the voices weren't around, you can get someone to do, if you wanted to bring a certain character back, you can have someone come in and do it. So with animation, I don't really mind the delayed sequel. So with that out of the way, just this teaser trailer on its own, I thought it was perfect in doing what it was meant to do. Like, it didn't blow me away or anything, but it just wanted to let us know that we're going on another adventure with Dory, with Nemo, with his dad, and that I had heard that they were going to be in it, but I wasn't 100% sure. So just, I don't think like a standalone Dory movie without them in it would be as interesting. So I'm really excited. I'm not exactly sure, but I heard this takes place 6 months after the end events.
6 months after Finding Nemo off the coast of California.
Yeah, so obviously they stayed friends, they stayed together, and one of the things with Finding Nemo was it was the dad and Dory together, and Nemo was in the fish tank the whole time. Now, hopefully, unless they do something stupid like separating them again, I hope we get them three together on this adventure. So it was cute. I liked it. Didn't blow me away, but it just let everyone know who we're going on this adventure with, and I liked it.
Jake?
Yeah,
I mean, I'll back up everything Jacob said. It didn't do a lot for me, but it did what it needed to do.
it was a teaser trailer.
It lets you know that these guys are coming back, that we're getting back into this world. There wasn't a whole lot to it. It's just, hey, Dory, Marlin, and Nemo are all back. Or is it Merlin? Is it Merlin?
I didn't even say his name because I couldn't remember.
I think it's Merlin.
Is it
It
Merlin?
sounds like
Merlin.
Merlin, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
But the thing that scares me is that
Dory is, or in Finding Nemo, she works because she is a great supporting character.
it's hard to see her become the lead because I mean, any character can be a lead character, but because of how good she was in Finding Nemo and because she was a supporting character, a side character, that gets me nervous a little bit because I don't know how well it could work with her as the lead. It's going to focus on her more than it will Nemo and Marlin, whatever his name is.
But, you know, if it does what Finding Nemo did, then hey, I'm all for it. I mean, that movie is arguably one of Pixar's greatest films ever, one of the greatest animation movies of all time. So it's exciting, you know, it has been a long time, but there's no way that people aren't going to go see it. And it's only going to bring back another generation that was from 13 years ago, and it's going to get a new generation of kids who haven't seen it before. But all I want to do is see those freaking seagulls again. So
I'm sure we will, man.
yeah, that's
I'm
all I want
sure
to
we
see.
will.
And I want to see the aquarium crew again too. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting if they needed their help or something.
Yeah.
somehow.
Shark bait. Ooh, ah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I never considered what you just said about Dory and her being a better off as a side character, but I feel like this film will be more of an emotional film because it'll be a story about a girl not only, I mean, she's already struggling with her memory, but then there'll be so much emotion behind her wanting to find her family, and you know, I just feel like there's more. There could be more emotion in the story. I love the trailer. I mean, I don't know how I could love something that barely gives us anything, you know. But I felt like there was nostalgia because it took me back to when I was a kid, you know, and when I, you know, went on this adventure with them. And it's Pixar too, you know. Just when you hear the Finding Nemo music, it's just like, wow, like we're back. Finally, they're back. You know, there's gonna be a lot of adults in the theaters. You know, some of them will have kids. Some
Who
of
were
them
teenagers at the time.
Some of them who, like us, don't have kids, but will be in the theater anyway. You know, and whatnot. And I'll be very upset if we don't get a butt joke. You guys remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. He touched the butt. Yeah. So I mean, it's a fun trailer, guys.
Oh, there were some good moments in there. Like, what does she say? She's like, she explains how memorizing something works. She's like, is that how it works? She's like, you see something in your head and it's like something that happened before. She's like, is that how it works?
Right. Yeah.
That was funny. So if we're getting that, and I will say, I think that's the reason why they're putting Nemo and Merlin in it, so they aren't just relying on her to carry this whole movie. I think they're going to be by her side the whole time. Mm-hmm. So I think that is going to help out with her being the lead, you know, and not oversaturating the whole film with her humor. I think Nemo and Merlin are going to be a big part of the movie. So
well, okay, so I have a question. As you're watching the trailer, did you get the feeling that the name Finding Dory comes from her sleep swimming off and getting lost?
No, I think it means finding Dory, like finding herself and where she came from and her family.
Okay.
I don't think it literally means finding her physically.
Because like I
hope not.
I feel like a lot of people are going to take it like, oh, she's going to sleep swim
I think
off.
that's what everyone is going to think going into it. But I think the real trailers are going to establish that it's finding her, her inner self, and like where she came from. In my opinion.
No. I totally agree with that. You guys let us know in the trailer what you think of Finding Dory. I mean,
yeah. Are you
I think everyone's excited. So
yeah, who's not? Like, who didn't love Finding Nemo?
DreamWorks maybe.
Yeah.
There's like 3 or 4% that didn't on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Hey, 90 something. That's always good.
All right, moving on to something a little more delightful. We have a casting list for Baywatch, the movie.
yeah.
Deadline released 6 names for people who could star opposite Zac Efron and Dwayne Johnson. How about that duo?
It's going to be awesome.
Leads? So I'm going to name off the names, and
well, this is for the female lead in the film.
roles. It could be 1 or 2.
Yeah, they specified roles, right?
Okay,
it's
so
not just one
numerous
role.
female roles in the
Yes.
film.
Yeah. So and you guys, I want you to let me know who you want to see in the film, or if there's someone on this list who you think should be on this list. All right. So we can start it off here. First up, Ashley Benson from Pretty Little Liars. We have Alexandria Daddario from San Andreas. Alexandra Shipp, who's going to be in X-Men Apocalypse as Storm. Shelley Hennig from Unfriended.
Teen Wolf too.
Teen Wolf. Nina Dobrev from The Vampire Diaries. Thank you. Terrible names. And Bianca Santos from Ouija, the
horror movie.
The horror movie, yes.
Who Shelley Hennig was also in.
Both of them were in it.
She was the one that spoiled. Oh, I'm not gonna say it. Never mind.
Oh, you're.
Who cares?
Anyways,
Nobody
okay.
cares.
She was the
about
one
that
who got
movie.
killed in the very beginning.
Okay.
The very beginning.
Oh, dang.
Like the one that they're trying to reach on the Ouija board. So.
Wow. Okay. All right, back to Baywatch. So, what do you guys think? Who do you want?
Yes.
To see? Who do you want to see in the movie?
This is like it's like a golden pot at the end of a rainbow, man. This is like, this list is amazing.
And I love it. It's for roles,
Not just one, because all of these girls deserve to be in this movie. Like they all fit the role, and they would all fit very well alongside personalities like a Dwayne Johnson and a Zac Efron. That team up alone is going to be awesome.
Yes.
But to see a young casting list like this for these young ladies, it's very exciting. And I mean, which guy is not going to say yes to this? Obviously. I mean, obviously the choice because she's the bigger name is Alexandra Daddario. Not only because she's the bigger name, but she's the most eye candy out of all of them.
She's goddess.
If you haven't seen the scene from True Detective,
Yeah.
I highly recommend you YouTubing Alexandra Daddario True Detective season 1.
I second that.
And just look up the scene. It's remembered as the scene.
Yes.
So she would fit the role, obviously, especially for a Baywatch movie. And, you know, someone like Nina Dobrev, who's a little bit of a bigger name too. She was just in a movie called The Final Girls. It's a small release movie. It's a little horror comedy, but her name's starting to get out there now because she just left The Vampire Diaries last year, I think she did. So she's a choice because she's bigger. But my two choices, I really like Ashley Benson, who was just in Pixels. She's unbelievably gorgeous, but she's actually a really good actress too. And then Shelley Hennig, who is really good in her character on Teen Wolf. She hasn't got a very much shots as a bigger role, but I would love to see her kind of get a big shot and see what she has on a big movie like this. But I mean, Alexandria Shipp, who is going to be Storm, she's gorgeous, and you know, from what I've heard, she's a really cool personality. So she would fit well too. I don't know very much about Bianca Santos, but any one of them would fit perfectly for the role or roles. And I'm really looking forward to seeing who they cast because I hope it's like 2 or 3 of them. Because there's going to be many female roles, and they're all going to be bathing suits. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I'm not familiar with most of the girls on this list. I'm just not. I mean, so it says that Alexandra Shipp, the girl who's playing Storm, was in Straight Outta Compton. Who was she?
She
Was
played
she Ice Cube's wife?
Ice Cube's wife, yes.
Was she really? Wow, she looked older than I thought she was in that movie. Okay, so I mean that's the only thing we've really seen her in, and I barely remember her in the movie. But she was such a small role. Apparently, she played Aaliyah on a TV movie, and she's done a bunch of TV stuff. So,
Well, all of them have.
yeah, like you said, Jake, the obvious choice is Alexandra Daddario. She's on the rise right now. She was in San Andreas. She's worked with Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
And if you were to pick out a performance, like out of San Andreas, because the popcorn movie, she was the performance.
Oh, like who
she was the good performance.
was actually good in the movie? Yeah, definitely. And so I have a feeling that she is their first choice for the top bill female role.
And she's looking for a franchise after Percy Jackson. She just ended with that. So
yeah. So and I think she's gonna have bigger things to come. I don't think this is gonna be her biggest role.
No.
But this is gonna be like 21 Jump Street.
But this might be the role she's remembered for.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at no, true. I mean, look at somebody. Why did I forget her name? She's one of my favorite actresses right now. Brie Larson she was in 21 Jump Street. Nobody knew who she was, and that was kind of how she took off, you know. Even though Daddario's bigger than she was then, this could like really put her, you know, to the next level as making her, and she might end up being the one doing the famous run down the beach.
She's gonna, if she gets casted, she's the Pamela Anderson role.
Yes,
and I
that's
think,
the role they're casting her for.
Or let's say they cast. What's her name? The girl from Spring Breakers. I think.
Oh, Ashley Benson.
I think they might be going up for the same role because they have similar attributes. So, just as far as the actresses, I'm looking forward to seeing potentially in this role. I would definitely go with Daddario. I would be interested. Like you said, there's going to be another female role in this movie. I would love to see Daddario and Shipp get cast, but by looking at all these women are attractive, so if that's the most important thing, then hey, any of them will work. But for me, definitely Daddario.
Okay, so let me ask you a question: if any of these girls get casted, who is the most beautiful person on set? The Rock, Zac Efron, or the girl?
The Rock.
God.
You got to go with The Rock.
That's a hard answer right there.
Who's directing this movie, man? He's gonna have
Seth Gordon.
Bunch of beautiful people around him. Yeah.
That's what gets me scared. But anyway.
Oh man. I mean, what else is there to say, guys?
Who's your choice, Gio?
My choice. I don't know. I can't.
It's hard to say because we don't even know half.
Nina Dobrev, man, she's a gorgeous girl, and she's actually a really good actress. She was in she was the girl in Let's Be Cops, the waitress.
I didn't see it.
Okay, she's the waitress in Let's Be Cops. She's in that.
Okay, was she funny?
Yeah, she was good. She played a different role. Like it wasn't a very comedic role.
Oh, okay.
All right. Give me Ashley Benson. Give me Alexandria Daddario. Nina Dobrev. Shelly
Cast all of
Henning,
them as-
Bianca
as
San.
the-
Yeah, give
Might
me
as
all.
well. I mean,
I can't.
Cast all of them as the
there's.
female.
I feel like there's going to be at least 3 casted.
Well, think about it.
'Cause
How
this-
many female lifeguards are actually going to be in the movie?
But this isn't a short list. This is like a.
no, I'm
this
saying
is a big
like there's going to be
list.
like, depending on the beach, there's going to be like 10
Yeah.
female like lifeguards anyway. But like half of them are going to be extras, you know. So, you know, they could cast 4 of them. Who knows?
Yeah, as long as Kate Upton isn't in this movie, yeah, it's.
That's what I was literally just thinking. What if they casted her as the Pam Anderson role?
I wouldn't want that. I don't
Well,
want
she's not a very good actress, but they did that in
Exactly.
the movie The Other Woman. She did the Pamela Anderson jog.
So
Yeah.
I think they're staying away from Kate Upton purposefully.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a good-looking woman, but she's just everywhere.
If anybody gets Charlotte McKinney,
Oh, don't stop. Okay. And what do you guys think of this Baywatch movie? You guys excited about it? It's
Oh,
be,
yeah.
It's gonna be
Hell yeah.
rated R. It's
And
gonna
not
be,
just because we're going to see women in
big
bathing
fun.
suits. Just when they first announced they're doing a Baywatch movie in the same realm of 21 Jump Street, with those 2 leads, The Rock and Zac Efron, I'm all in.
the problem with me is Seth Gordon. He hasn't been on my good side lately. Like he did both Horrible Bosses, or the first one at least.
He did the first one.
The first one, it was good, but it wasn't what I was hoping for. Like it was fun and everything, but I just hope that you have everything's falling into place for this kind of movie. So I just hope he just bangs it out.
Well, I didn't know that he's directing this, and that actually excites me because I really like the first Horrible Bosses, and not the best story, but I just love hard R raunchy comedy.
That's what I hope. Well, I don't know if I want hard R raunchy because Baywatch isn't really hard R raunchy.
But neither.
I hope
was-
it's like
I think they're like.
a
I
20
think they're reimagining.
like a
it.
21 Jump Street's not hard R raunchy.
I would say it is. It's
well,
hard. I mean, we have different definitions of it, but I mean, it's hard R though.
I think hard R raunchy is like Neighbors.
True.
Any Seth
yeah.
Rogen movie, really.
Well, yeah.
except for-
I don't think 21 Jump Street was hard R, but like you said,
Okay.
different definitions of it. So.
Yeah.
yeah. Dwayne Johnson describes it as big fun and rated
Well,
R.
we're all excited for this,
yeah.
regardless.
Yeah. You guys let us know. What do you think about the Baywatch cast list?
And who would you want to
Yeah,
see
don't be
do that
afraid.
famous Pamela Anderson run down the beach?
I mean,
Either of them.
yeah, either of them. And that's it. That's a wrap.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our movie news podcast. I want to thank my 2 partners right here. Gio Ramos, where can they find you online, man?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Jojo Ramos24 and on PocketFlixMovies.com writing all these new Star Wars stuff.
And Jake Berlin, where can they find you online?
Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. You can find us at Facebook at Apocalypse Movies. You can also find me at apocalypsemovies.com, but
Not writing Star Wars stuff because I'm staying away from it all.
And I'm your host, Jacob Bartley. You can find me on this YouTube channel, pretty much on all the podcasts. You can find me on Twitter at Governor Bartley. You can find me on Facebook at Jacob Bartley. And please subscribe to this YouTube channel. We would really appreciate it. And if you are subscribed, hit that like button. All the help we can use.
And also check out our first underground podcast, which will be filmed a little bit later today.
We are recording our first, we're calling it the Hollywood Bunker Apocalypse Underground, where on our main podcasts, I prefer it if we don't cuss. We keep it as clean as possible, even though we were kind of crossing some boundaries today. So with that Bunker podcast, it's going to give us the opportunity to just kind of more be ourselves.
It's an after-hour
It's-
show.
Yeah, pretty much just like an after-hour show. And the subject for our first one is our top 5 actresses working in Hollywood today. So please look forward to that. It will be up later next week for sure. And thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week.